Hello everyone, and welcome back to part 3 of the Pinkie Pie tutorial. So far you should have made the body as well as the head. So in this tutorial we will be making the back leg. So I've already made one, and I'll make the next one with you, and then you guys will have to go back and replay the video and make a second leg. So to start, we're going to do the magic ring with 3 loops and then create a slip knot. Okay, and then we're going to go back in and that's stitch 2. Go back in all 3 loops. You want to make sure you always catch all 3 loops. So that's 3. 4. 5. And 6. So now we'll place our C-clip stitch marker on the last stitch there. So now on the next round we are going to increase in every stitch. So go in and then go back in that same stitch. And just continuing that pattern all the way around to the end. And then you just move your stitch marker again. Alright, sorry about that little interruption. Alright, sorry about that interruption. People ended up with company at the door. So we'll start up here. So you guys should have moved your stitch marker onto the last stitch. And now for the next round we're going to start to make kind of an oval shape instead of completely round, just to try and get it more of a hoof-like look. So you're going to do a single stitch in the first 2 stitches. Yeah. So 1, 2. Okay, now after those 2 single stitches, we are going to put an increase of 3 stitches in the 1 stitch. Yeah. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then again we're going to do 3 stitches in the next stitch. So 1, 2, and last time 3. Okay, Paisley, you lost my page. Yeah. Okay, so now from here we're going to do an increase of 2 stitches. Yeah. in the last of these stitches and finish off the round. So 1, 2, and again, and again, and again. And that little voice you hear is just my 2-year-old. She's trying to be helpful today. And again. Too many bands. 2, and one last time. All right, and then we're just gonna move this, our stitch marker again. Great. Okay, now on this next round, we are going to do 4 single stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now we're going to do an increase in the next 3 stitches. So 1, go back in, 2, same with the next one, go back in, and again on the next stitch, and go back in. Okay, so now we're going to do 3 single stitches. Two, and 3, and now here we're going to do 2 stitches again, so an increase in the next 3 stitches, so 2 stitches. So 1, go back in, that's 2, so that was stitch number 1. So there's 1, go back in, that's 2, and then one last time for an increase, go back in. Okay, and now for the last stitches, we're just going to do a single stitch all the way around to finish off the round. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now here again we're going to move the stitch marker to keep track of our rounds. So now you can see it's kind of got a not quite round shape to it. So now we're going to start getting it so that we can work up the leg. So in order to do that, what we need to do is on each of the stitches here, we're just going to take the outside loop. So normally we do 2 loops, but this time we're just going to do it on the outside loop. So just this outside loop. And we're just going to do single stitches all the way around. So just make sure you're always only taking the one outside loop. And don't worry if it's kind of curling up on you, it will lay flat here as we work up the leg. Okay. So now that we're done that round, I'm just going to move my stitch marker again. Okay, so now for this next round, we're going to do single stitches all the way around again, but this time you want to make sure you put it through both loops. So like that. And make sure you get and these legs again are going to be like the body. It will end up being a little bit tedious here for a few parts, especially the front legs. So you're just going to keep going around and around a lot. And last one. So again here, move our stitch marker. Now we're gonna just kind of decrease a little bit on this next round just so that you get the definite hoof and then it goes into the leg. It's not really super noticeable, but it makes the bottom lay flat. So what we're going to do is 3 stitches and then 1 decrease, and then we do that pattern all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, and here go in through the 1 loop and go in through the next one beside it for our decrease. And again, 1, 2, 3, and then a decrease here. And again, 1, 2, 3, and a decrease. And again, 1, 2, 3, and a decrease. And again, 1, 2, 3, and a decrease. And one last time. 1, 2, 3, and a decrease. Okay, and then we'll just move our stitch marker again. Alright, so now for the tedious part. We're just going to do single stitches all the way around for 13 rounds. So I'll start the first round with you, and then I will pause it and you guys can finish this as it takes a little while, and then you can come back when you're finished. And then we will start forming kind of the little bend in the leg that they have. So again, make sure you do 13 rounds. Just use C-clips to mark your places again to keep track of your rounds, or you can do tally marks as well. But you want to make sure you keep track of your rounds so that all your legs are the same length. So continue on, finish this, do your 13 rounds, and then meet me back here when you're done. Okay, welcome back everyone. So at this point you should have a leg that looks like this. So now we're going to start doing some decreases to make it pulled in, and then we're going to increase to make the upper part of the leg. So then it kind of looks like it has that bend in it. So just follow me. Okay, so we're going to do a single stitch in the first 16 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Okay, so now after those 16 single stitches, we are going to finish off this round by doing decreases. So we'll go in to the next 2 stitches. And again, there should be 4 of them all together. And again, and then one last time. And then it's going to start to pull the leg in. So let's move our C-clip again. Okay. So now for the next round, we are just going to do 4 single stitches to start. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then here now we're going to do 1 or an increase on the first stitch and then a single stitch, and we're going to repeat that 4 times. So here 1, go back in. That's 2, and then a single stitch. So that was 1. So again, we do an increase, and now a single stitch. So that was 2. So an increase, now a single stitch, and one more time, an increase here, and then a single stitch. Now we're going to do a single stitch 2 more times. So 1 and 2, and then now we're going to do a decrease 3 times. So yeah, so no, we'll finish off the round. Oops, sorry. Need to do a decrease. So go in through the first stitch, come back around, and go back in a second stitch, and pull your band through. And again, and one more time. Okay, and again, move our C-clip, mark that round. Okay, now on the next round we're just going to do single stitches 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and here we're going to do the same. We're going to do an increase and then a single stitch. And we're going to repeat that 5 times. So in the first stitch, it's an increase. So 1, go back in. There's 2, and now we'll do a single stitch. So that was 1. Increase, and now a single stitch. So that's 2. So an increase. And now a single stitch. That's 3. And again an increase. And then a single stitch. That's 4, and one more time an increase. And a single stitch. Okay, now we're just going to do 6 single stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There, and move our seed clip again. Okay, so you can start to see that shape forming. Okay, so the next round we're going to do 2 stitches. Hold on, I got to see what I have written down here for a second. Eight, 16, 26. What do I got happening here? Sorry guys, just give me a minute while I figure out what I wrote down. Alright, sorry about that. I just had to figure out, I had too many stuff written down there. So, we're going to start with an increase. So 2 stitches in one here. Okay, and now we're going to do 4 single stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now here we're going to do an increase and then 2 single stitches and repeat that 4 times. So 1, go back in, increase, okay, and then 2 single stitches. So that's 1. So do that again, increase, followed by 2 single stitches. those two. So again, an increase. Followed by 2 single stitches. Okay, one more time, an increase. Followed by 2 single stitches. Okay, and then now we're going to do 6 single stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now on the last 3 stitches we are going to do an increase on each of those. Go back in, and again on the next one. Go back in, and then on the last stitch do an increase. So there's one, go back in, and again move our C-clip. So now we're starting to get that upper leg part that will be attaching to the body here. Alright, so the next round we're just going to do single stitches all the way around. Kids are excited today. They have friends over, so they might be a little bit louder in the background. our C-clip again. So now we just have one row left on this leg. So we're going to do a single stitch 3 times. So 1, 2, 3, and then here we're going to do a decrease and then a single stitch, and we're going to repeat that 3 times. So go in the 2 stitches, do a decrease and then a single stitch. So that's 1, and again go in the 2, do a decrease and then a single stitch, and one more time a decrease and then a single stitch. Okay, and now we're going to do a single stitch times 3, so 3 single stitches and then another decrease, and we're going to repeat that pattern 3 times. So 1, 2, 3, and then a decrease here. And then again, 1, 2, 3, and then a decrease. And one more time. 1, 2, 3, and then a decrease. Okay. So now we're just going to do 1 single stitch here. And then we're going to do a single stitch twice with an increase. And we're going to repeat that 2 times to finish off the round. So that's 1, 2, and now an increase here. Okay, and again 2 single stitches. 1, 2, and now on the last stitch it's an increase. Okay, and so I'm just going to remove the C-clip now. Pull it off there because we don't need to mark it anymore. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in through stitch 1 and I'm going to tie it off in a slip knot. So go through all the bands, catch the end and pull that through to create a slip stitch. Okay, so now that we're finished this back leg, we're just going to stuff it. Now, you want to be very careful when you stuff it. Again, it needs to be firm so it can hold up the body, but you also don't want to overstuff it so that you end up with big gaps in your bands. So just try and figure out what the perfect balance for that is. Sometimes it takes a couple times to figure it out. And I always kind of roll it around because that kind of evens out the stuffing and then makes it so that it's not too stuffed. And then when you attach this to the body, you're probably going to have to add more stuffing just because it's hard to get this top firm right now just because it's so open. Okay, but just try and do your best to get as much in there for now. So there you have your back leg. So I have 2 of them, so you need to go back to the beginning of this video and make yourself another one. And then I'll see you in the next part.